Hello guys, thanks for tuning in for this edition of City Girl Gardening and Urban Farm 803. I am Dee, your City Girl Gardener and Urban Farmer. We're out in the garden. I have some things that I need to finish up. I got some things I want to show you, some changes that I made. We're going to check on the last few cantaloupe that I have growing in the garden. And I'm going to show you what I've done to the chicken coop here in the garden, so stay tuned. However, the cantaloupe, they have been showing out. As you can see here, I have one here that is almost ripe, but not quite yet because the vine has not started turning brown. I have a second one that was growing here in this corner. We harvested one that was over here, and this is the second one that grew over here on this vine. And then if you come on over, you can see I have another one that's growing here. I have a little small baby one here. I'm not sure if this one will ripen before it gets really cold. But then you can see I have another one here. This is the fifth one that is growing here. It is not yet ripe yet. The vine has not turned brown yet, so it's not yet ripe. As you can see, the I call them the squash bugs. They have stink bugs or squash bugs, whatever. They have not, they're starting to kind of invade this space. They haven't overpopulated it yet, but for sure it's well on its way. So I'm just waiting on these bad boys to ripen so that I can get them taken off the vine and I can get these vines pulled up and get this bed cleaned up for something else to grow in for this fall and winter season. Coming to this side of the fence line, you can see my marigold. They are still flourishing. You see I have two squash plants that I did plant over here. I've harvested one squash. However, the squash vine borer has gotten into those squash, so I will pull those up. Last week I did put down some of the weed killer, and you can see those weeds around the beds have dried out, so I just need to get those pulled and get that side of the bed cleaned up. I want to get all the stuff done in my side of the garden before I actually get over to the Trammell side of the community garden. You know that I moved this bed from back at the back where the arch trellis was. I got it moved here. I added this bed here, and then I still need to move this planter and move that bed. My green bed will be delivered today, so I'll get that down. And then the other 4x2 bed is sitting over here. It will go into the place where I have this bed, and this bed will actually go back to the back of the garden. You can see the marigolds are still thriving, which is great. I just have basically my basil there going to seed, which is good. They're flowering now. If I did try to harvest any of this basil, it would be bitter. So I am going to try to get as much of the basil I can off of this plant before I start digging and pulling this bed up. But you can see the holy basil is beautiful with the purple flowers. You can see the regular basil here growing. That tomato plant, I planted there late, but it's still trying to thrive and grow. But it hadn't quite fully gotten out yet, so it'll probably not grow anything before it gets too cool. And of course, you see the marigolds. You can see this is my sweet pepper bed, and you can see all of the peppers that are in this bed. I do have somewhere in this bed a tomato green hornworm. I saw it and I meant to pull it off when I saw it this past weekend, but I didn't. But as you can see, it has started to eat the foliage off of the bed. Yes, you hear chickens. What I did over the weekend was I took the the front part of the chicken coop back here, I took it off and moved it to the chicken coop that I built here in the middle of my garden. I took it off and put it here in the middle of my garden, and I moved my chicks here in the middle of the garden. I want you guys to check out these eggplants. Look at there. These are some Black Beauty eggplants. They are beautiful. I'm going to harvest this one. Of course, you see the basil here growing. I'm going to get that pulled up, get these beds cleaned up for the fall winter garden. I'm going to get my comfrey planted down, get the roots down into the garden bed that's right here beside the chicken coop. And of course, you see the chickens are now here in the middle of the garden. I did get them new feeders that hang on the inside of their run. I got them new waters as well. It makes it a lot easier for me with watering and feeding, for them to have more than enough so I don't have to get out quite so regularly. They are molting, of course, as you can see. I have a lot of feathers that are here, so I'll need to get this raked and cleaned up. I still need to get their nesting boxes in here, which I'm not in a rush because, as I said, they're molting and they have not laid eggs in a minute now. So these are some of the changes that I have made to the garden. I put in some fencing on the top, some chicken wire on the top, because I am going to get a rooftop built that will sit on top of the fencing on top of this dog kennel for the chickens to protect them from the rain. It's just not on there right now, and I didn't want the hens to be able to fly up out. So this is what the top looks like for now, but this is what it is. I do have my arch trellis going over the first part of the chicken coop, and so we're going to get this fixed up today, get it positioned like it should be here in the garden. And I got some exciting things going on, so stay tuned. Alright guys, I'm going to take a quick break from getting all the dirt cleaned up from this garden bed that I just moved over into the wheelbarrow, as I have been scooping out the dirt from that garden bed. That garden bed has been here in this garden for some time, and I have reused that dirt, cleaned it, reused the dirt, cleaned it, reused the dirt. As I have been scooping the dirt out, I have come across a lot of grubs in that dirt, in the soil. I planted in that bed during the summer corn, basil, cilantro, dill, green beans, a lot of things. The corn started to grow, however, the storm came, blew it over, but the corn wasn't growing very well. Out of the basil, I did have about 5 or 6 of the basil seeds to sprout. I did not have any cilantro, I didn't have any dill, green beans didn't make it or anything. And it's most likely because this bed was infested with grubs. As I have been scooping the dirt, I noticed some grubs. So I started just taking little by little, scooping out and sifting through the dirt, getting out roots from some of the plants that were previously in that soil, and I got out the grubs. I want you guys to take a look at all of these grubs. Yep, all of these were in the garden bed. And then as I am doing this video, I see that there's another grub in the garden bed. So hold on, I'm going to show you what it looks like in the soil. Right here. Here's another grub. And then, look, here's another grub. And then look, right here, here's another grub. All of these grubs that I'm collecting and picking up out of the bed, I am going to get these grubs over here, but I'm gonna feed every last one of them to my chickens. They are going to love them. They're gonna fight over them, they're gonna snatch them up, but they're gonna love these grubs. What your mama got? Yep, I got some stuff for you. Look. What's this? Look. Look at all them grubs. Look at all them worms. Look at them. They better come and get them. Look at them. Some of you should have got here fast enough. Yep, because your sister, she got a good bit of grub. Don't try to snatch that out of her mouth. You better hurry up and eat it. They're trying to attack this one that has a grub hanging out of his mouth. They're trying to snatch it out of her mouth. Before I put this dirt over into the garden bed back over here, I am going to sprinkle some diatomaceous earth in it. It's gonna take care of any of the grubs and any other bugs, ants, anything else that is in the dirt that should not be in the dirt. And then I have dug and exposed a lot of these grubs. As you can see here, look. Another grub. This bed was infested. And anytime you have an infestation of grubs in your garden beds, when you put your crops in, they're going to eat the roots of your crops up. If you plant seeds in the bed, they're going to eat the seeds up. So anytime you put something in the bed and it's not growing very well, and you have amended the soil, you put some different fertilizers, nutrients into the bed, you've done everything that you can possibly do, and you can't figure out why your stuff's not growing, most likely you have some type of infestation, and it's going to be some grubs or some type of bug infestation that you're going to need to clean out of your soil. So stay tuned. I'm going to get finished with these garden beds today because I have prolonged this project long enough. I have to get started with getting stuff together over in the community garden this week. So I want to get things done in my garden before I start over there. So stay tuned. All right, guys, this is it for me today out here in the garden. I've gotten the other green bed in place. You can see now I have all three greens. Well, my two green beds here. I have my 4x2 oval beds on each end. I have them in the garden. We're going to go around so you guys can see. I have the 4x2 back in its original spot in the garden. It's been covered with some diatomaceous earth because the soil was infested with grubs. I used part of the soil in this bed and part of the soil in the 4x2 garden raised bed up there, the oval one. I'm going to fill these beds with some fresh dirt, fresh soil, garden soil, and manure and other nutrients maybe tomorrow. But this is it for me in the garden today. Just getting some things changed over. I am gonna have to do something with this raspberry bush. As you can see, it is growing past this trellis that I have it here inside of. I might end up having to pull this one up and attach it to this one if it's gonna grow really tall like I'm thinking that it's gonna grow. I might have to put it across to make it like a T-shaped type trellis. For now, we'll see. But this is my blueberry bush here, and then this is the raspberry bush, which is growing up and growing pretty tall in this bed. So we are gonna see how it does here in the garden. I'm gonna see if I can just kind of wind it around a little without breaking it. preparing it. Get these vines together in the bed, because they are growing every which way. Yep, so that's the raspberry bush, growing very well. But this is the garden. We're transitioning to the fall winter garden. I'm gonna get the rest of the things cleared up, cleaned up, and cleared out. So stay tuned, and you guys are gonna join me tomorrow over in the community garden, Tromul and me. So stay tuned for that. I'll be looking for volunteers for next week to help me get that set up. So be on the lookout for that post, and stay tuned.